And we are live. Welcome once again to the Sound Advice live stream and podcast. I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime over here to this side of me, Nick from Toyd's DIY Audio. Nick, tell us what's going on.
Well, today I stubbed my toe, and no, everything's going really good. I'm actually really excited. I can't wait to have a good conversation with Sparked.
That's right. We have a special guest, the one and only Mr. Ed Lester from Sparked Innovations, also known as Sparked Ed. That is all of his social media, Sparked Ed. Ed, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. This is fantastic.
So wait, real quick. I need to ask: is it two separate words like Sparked Ed, or is it Sparked did?
Both.
Both. Okay, cool.
I could tell the story if you want to get into it.
Let's hear the story.
I want to hear the story now. Yeah.
Okay, so the old channel name was Showtime SPL, and that actually was a format that I started. That's why it was SPL. Didn't take off. Had the YouTube channel, and that kind of like just was in the past. So to changing my channel to associate with the current business, Sparked Innovations. I wanted to change it to something, but not be the official. You know, Sundown Audio has Derek Haddock runs Sundown Unofficial.
Yeah.
Which is, he personally runs that, but it's connected to Sundown because he works there. So I wanted something connected to the business, but not fully. So Sparked Innovations, and Ed being my name, but also meaning education. And as a kind of a shout out to my 8-year-old Olive, she has a way of speaking about things in a double past tense. Like,
oh yeah,
I shooted the basketball, or I runned, or whatever. It just kind of adds on. So I was like, oh, Sparked it. So okay, I Sparked the channel. So
I like that. Sparked it. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I want to give a shout out to our first super chat of the evening. Scott with Power Hog Audio has dropped us a $5 super chat. Thank you, Scott. We sure appreciate you supporting what we do here. And of course, we always want to support what you do. Y'all check out his website and order yourself some of those giant subwoofers he has down there in Atlanta.
And I'll tell you, make sure when you put YouTube, put 2 G's in under Power Hog. Otherwise, like, it's hard to find. You got to do the 2 G's. I found that the hard way a couple times. I'm like, why is it not showing up? Oh, right. 2 G's. Yeah.
Well, all right then. So guys, what anything interesting been going on with your channels lately? I know that Ed, you have been doing live streams kind of daily for the last few weeks, it seems. And that's what reason I wanted to invite you on. I jumped on, was watching one of your live streams, and during your live stream, you were working on something while you were streaming, and you were talking about it and working, and you were just kind of like, oh yeah, happy little accident. We'll plant a happy little tree there and all that kind of stuff. And I was sort of thinking, this is, I feel like I'm a kid watching PBS, watching a dude paint again. What was that guy's name?
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Yeah, you would get off a good Bob Ross vibe right there. So you might be the next Bob Ross.
That is a high compliment, I tell you. So, but yeah, haven't been able to keep up the daily live streams lately just because we've been busy here. But that was the goal, and that's what I did for a while, and I'll still try and get back to that. And it's, live like this, but it's just me. I don't really have any guests on. It's just kind of talking, showing what I'm doing or a topic off the top of my head. Yeah, and it's been going well, just like I said, can't keep up with it.
You're basically going to be the new Paul McGowan, right? You guys know PS Audio, Paul McGowan. He does the same thing. Sits back and just tells you a story, and then you're like, oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah.
The old guy who sells the ridiculously overpriced stuff that Nick can build for half the cost, right?
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
He won't like to hear that, but yeah.
It seems like a nice guy, but like you have the same amplifier that you built. You're build the 3000 hi-fi amplifier for 300. That one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Ice Power, yeah.
Right.
I actually don't remember if PS Audio actually used Ice Power amps or not, but they may have. I just don't remember.
Well, I'm going to brag a little bit, guys. So this last weekend, my channel turned 2 years old, and I passed 1 million views. I had my first 1 million views total. So I'm
that is excellent. But I did hear that 999,000 999, however many more nines there are, were his mom. But but it is exciting either way.
My mom has never watched my
regardless.
YouTube channel. She's in her 70s, and she said once, "I don't know how to make it work." So, I mean, so apparently she doesn't know how to use YouTube. So my mom's never seen my channel.
Well, that's okay.
Good job getting to the million, though. I tell you, it's tough.
Yeah. Speaking of a million, the video that I watched, some of you guys may not be familiar, and we really do need to we need to let you introduce yourself. But before we do that, I want to just bring up the first video I saw of yours, which was the one where the subwoofer's playing in water and with water, and you're doing all the different test tones. That thing has over 6 million views on its own. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like that. It's cool. It's really cool. If you guys haven't seen that, you should watch it. Go. I'm sorry, Ed.
No, great. That is, it's an anomaly. My channel, that is the peak of all my videos. I don't think I have another one over 1 million. I have a few that are like in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, but I don't think I have another over 1 million. So for some reason that one got shared around and went up, but I couldn't capitalize off of the success of that video.
Should have followed up with putting some Oobleck on a speaker. There was a bunch of Oobleck speakers, Oobleck on a speaker about that time. She's putting slow-mo cameras. Oobleck, it's what's it, Ed? What is it? It's just
cornstarch and water.
And cornstarch.
Oh
yeah,
the non-Newtonian fluid.
Yes,
that's it. That's the fancy word.
Right.
Yeah. That's the stuff that's a liquid until you like smack it hard.
Yeah, right. It's either a solid or liquid, and then you can run across it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, make a baby pool. I've seen people do that. Now I have done maybe 3 videos with Ooblecks, and none of them really. For a while, that was like a thing on the internet that was going around. So I try to join in and do that, but did decent, but nothing like the 6 million view video, you know?
We got a question in the chat. So, what speaker did you use for your underwater speaker test?
I've used 2 over the years. I think the original was an old Definitive Audio Designs, maybe the KMH series. So it's basically a normal type of driver with a paper cone, but it had a poly cap that covered the entire cone from surround to surround. So it was basically water resistant. I just put some beads of silicone just to make sure, and underneath it, around the enclosure, around the screw holes, everything like that. I painted the whatever. I think I used MDF, but I used epoxy sealant and maybe Kills or one of those like white waterproof paints. But it was just a normal DAD woofer.
Yeah, I went ahead and posted the link in there, guys. So if you want to see it, I put it in the chat for you guys, so you'll be able to see that. But I do want to say, Ed, too, why don't you introduce yourself for the people that don't have any idea who you are? Because there are probably some people there that don't know who you are, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. So I'm Ed Lester. I started. Well, I could go into the whole backstory of where I come from.
Go for it. Do the backstory. It's what you're here for.
I am an industry professional in the car aftermarket industry, specialty aftermarket manufacturer, member, SEMA, all that. I've been an installer. I've been a car audio salesperson, distributor, website distribution, subwoofer manufacturer, battery manufacturing, been in R&D, product development, lighting, what else? And now I run, and I'm the head design engineer at Sparked Innovations, and we do aftermarket automotive accessories. We do production and design, and I've run a semi up and down successful YouTube channel connected to car audio since 2009, I believe.
Wow.
2009. So formerly called Showtime SPL, and that's where I did have some popular videos, but I recently changed the name to Sparked Ed to coincide with the business Sparked Innovations. So that's a brief summary.
So are you, do you own Sparked Innovations, or are you just?
Yeah, it's a 50-50, well, not quite 50-50, but almost. It's a partnership. With Rich Tornetta, who we went to high school with, and we've done several business ventures over the years, but this is our current business where we said, you know what, let's go fully into a business instead of just, trying, let's do a side business. No, we went fully into this one.
That's great.
And it's working so far.
Well, good. Good. What is your favorite product that you sell at Sparked Innovations?
Well, my favorite is probably based off of what I like to build the most.
Was that a pun based off of?
Well, we do that a lot. I have, let me grab one here. This is a taken apart version, but we like fun words. So this is a cooling fan we make, and we call it Fanny. And then a dealer will buy a pack of 4, and we call that the fanny pack. So
nice. I was just gonna wonder if you put it in a pack or what. Nah,
yeah. And we're designing a speed controller called Speedy. So we have a lot of fun other things in development. But this is my favorite one right now to build. It's acrylic welded pieces. It's machined pieces, and a lot of hand assembly. And it does take a little while to put together, but I was just doing a bunch today, and when they come together, it feels solid, and I just like how we made the pieces fit in the whole process of doing it. So this is my favorite one currently.
So we got a comment, got another super chat from El Fuego. Thank you, El Fuego. He's been a longtime supporter of so many people in the audio space, and we appreciate him so much. We keep trying to get him to make his own YouTube channel because I think he could probably make one better than all of ours. He has an RBX-4. He loves his Sparks Innovations keychain and his 10 switches, illuminated switches on his test bench. So what is an RBX-4?
We make relay boxes. So RBX relay box, and that's the 4-channel. And I don't have one in reach here, but it's fused at 15 amps, has 4 switched outputs. But we also make cables and switches that all plug directly in. It's all fully galvanic isolation because of a relay, all diode isolated, has status LEDs, has expandable capabilities, which we just released a voltmeter that can connect on the housing. Plugs in, and it's an ignition activated voltmeter, has other distribution like ground and power distribution, and a couple other features too. But it's mostly designed for the car audio world, but people have been using it for many other things. The Jeep people have been using it. It's not waterproof, but boat people, they put it in like their waterproof case, and boat people use it because they have a bunch of lighting. I'm not in the world of boats. I don't know everything they're doing, but they have a bunch of LEDs they want to turn on and off with a switch panel. So they use it.
It's a good idea. I like that. Yeah, you could also use that if you were making like a custom arcade or something like that.
Yeah, a few people I think have used them for test benches inside, but for PC lighting for their gaming.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I could up my lighting game in the background with one of those. That might be fun.
There you go.
An RBX fortune. Yeah. I looked that up too, guys. So of course, for those that don't know, you have to go to shop.sparkedinnovations.com. Actually looks like a nice one. It looks like you could do custom acrylic options too. So you guys do all different colors too, huh?
Yeah. You could kind of see this rack back there.
Yeah.
All those cubbies are all different colored acrylic.
Oh yeah, I can see them now. Yeah. Now you see
our small yellow laser. Next to that, we have a huge 4 feet by 6 feet bed laser cutter engraver. So we could do pretty much any color acrylic. We stock, I think, like 25, 26 different colors. So a lot of different options.
What is that yellow machine behind you? I can't even tell. Is that your cutter for acrylic?
Yeah, that's the little laser cutter. So that you see the door open, that's the lid.
Up at top, yeah.
Yeah, it'll close down, and it's just the yellow part's the big metal housing. But that's the small one where we do little pieces. Like so for Fanny here, all this is all this is a gloss black. There you can see the gloss.
Yeah.
This is flat black acrylic. And in design, then we have the frosted acrylic. So that's all cut on the laser.
See, and I like that too, because you're doing this all in-house, which is nice.
Yes. And that's one of our goals, is to grow a U.S. manufacturing facility. And in the future, we may have more and more machines and bring in experts to run them and stuff like that. But right now, we're 3 person team, and I do most of the machining and everything because that's what I've been learning to do over the past couple of years, and it's been working.
That's awesome.
Sure, I don't drop that.
That's actually really cool. So what types of materials do you guys typically work with? I mean, obviously you work with acrylic and you work with MDF. Obviously, you kind of have to do that, right? But what else do you guys work with?
HDPE is another big one for us.
Oh, yeah.
High density polyethylene.
Cutting boards.
Yeah, and we use it for housings. It's better than ABS for what we do. It's not really heat formable like MDF, and we actually like that when you have something sitting in the back of a vehicle that's in a hot sun and it's not going to, get soft or whatever. But it's easier to machine. It machines much cleaner than ABS and gives you the same kind of texture and feel of ABS. So that's why we use it. A lot of other people in the industry have been using it. Another thing I like that we can use our lasers for is styrofoam, and we can cut any foam with it. So our packaging, even though it's just the white styrofoam right now, if we want to expand and do a nicer packaging, we could do like I don't know what it's called, not PVA, but it's like a more of a spongy foam that I've done a few pieces on there. That stuff, the way it cuts on the laser is beautiful, and I want to do. It's just expensive. That's why we don't do much of it. But it's beautiful to cut on there, and so packaging, that's a rare, like, it's not exciting to talk about or post about, but that's one of my favorite things to do is come up with new ways for inner packaging and cut it on the laser.
No, actually, that's cool because a lot of people don't understand unless you start selling things, like what you're doing. Getting custom packaging made can be very expensive, like to have someone actually manufacture, especially something that's of quality. We were talking to someone from Parts Express, and I always mention how a driver comes packaged because most drivers just come in cardboard, right? And I mean, that's it. And that's their packaging and all their stuff. But then like the higher end ones will come packaged really nice with foam and everything else. I always mention that. I'll be like, man, this is really nice packaging. I'm really happy that they do that. And even the them over at Dayton Audio said, hey, look, man, you don't know how much that adds to the cost of speed. Like, it adds a lot.
Oh yeah. And they're heavier stuff too, because it has to pass maybe a drop test and whatnot. And if you're getting molded foam to wrap around a driver and be in the profile and shape of the driver,
exactly,
you got to pay to tool that and mold it. It costs money.
It does. Yeah, people don't understand. Like, that's awesome that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, trying for now anyway. Once we get to the level that like Dayton is at, then maybe we'll outsource that. But for now, for now it's all back there.
Yeah, and HDPE too. If I'm not mistaken, you can also buy that as dual color, right? So then you can, when you machine it, it can show a different color. So one color on top, one color on the bottom.
Yeah, we haven't done that. We've done that with acrylic. There's different types of acrylics that have a colored layer. So what I do mostly, I have drying over there some custom switch panels for orders that are going to go out tomorrow. And I'll just use a solid color and engrave through the paper and paint it.
Oh, that's cool.
But we have back there also multi-layered acrylic. So when the laser burns through the top layer, you see the bottom layer through. So you don't have to do any painting. However, very, very expensive. Same thing with the HDPE. And HDPE comes in multiple solid colors. They use it on playgrounds. So they come in red and greens and blues and yellows and all that stuff. We just use the black. Most of our color options are just through the acrylic right now.
Gotcha.
The packaging thing is interesting. And, Nick understands this. I buy a lot of, let's call them DIY drivers. They're not intended for that car audio kind of market or whatever the case, just a raw driver. And when you get a raw driver, Nick's not kidding. There's a plastic cover that the speaker sits face down in, and everything else, and then just a cardboard box. And that's it. And the last drivers that I got in, it was the speaker in the plastic cover and not even a box. It was just a piece of cardboard folded around the cone over the magnet and tape.
Yes. And sometimes they have these little tabs that go in the screw holes. I don't know, that'll focus on it, but and that's it. And that protects it. That goes over the cardboard so that your surround doesn't get bent. It's like, I don't know why I have those sitting here, but
just for fun, why not?
I guess so. We always have
But
stuff sitting around that we just don't realize until we watch the show. We're like, oh, hey,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
I got this.
Someone will mention something. I'll turn around and go, oh, I got one right here. Yeah, we all have all the props laying around.
No, I
But,
have so much things on my desk. I was going to grab one, but I don't see it there.
The packaging thing, you know, I'll be looking at my DIY speaker I'm going to build, and I'll turn on the 5-star car stereo video, and they'll open up a full-blown car audio piece, and they've got 4 different mounts for the tweeter. It already has the bracket, so you can put the thing in the door, and it's all like, okay, I should have bought that instead of what I bought, because just the life would be so much easier if I had to sit there and route out 15 different pieces to mount a tweeter somewhere.
Well, you know, I'll tell you this too. Like, people don't understand this. I'm not going to mention the brand that I bought, but I bought a 15-inch nice woofer. It was cast frame, which is, you know, what happened. But when I got it, it had a Neo magnet on it. But when I got it, frame was broken like to pieces. And I mean, outside the box didn't even look that bad. I was like, well, what the heck, man? I heard some jingling in there. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
So it probably fell off a rack and
yes,
flat. Ooh.
And then I ordered another one, and another one came broken.
Ouch.
I was like, dang, I'm like, you guys got to figure out a different way to package these things, man. Like,
Too much weight on the frame, maybe?
I think so. I mean, I think the way that it was manufactured was there's just way too much weight down below, because it was a Neo magnet, right? So all the weight's down in that very small compact place, and then it had a very large frame, and it was always breaking right in the middle of that frame. And I think there's just too much stress there. I don't know. I mean, that's just my assumption.
Got to learn how to acrylic or aluminum weld now and just.
Nah, it was covered under warranty. I'm good.
There you go. Warranty. That's awesome.
All right, so I've got a question that I would like to ask, and so I'd like to know, Ed, your take on this. So there's a story behind it. There always is. So I've got sitting in the garage right now. I need to hook it back up at some point. What I have for my subwoofer in my truck is just a Dayton Audio Ultimax 10 with a passive radiator. And I was experimenting with how low I can tune it. I plugged my DATs into it, and I had this thing tuned to 22.5 hertz. And so didn't mean to tune it that low. I've got to take some weights off that thing. And one day I was just playing around, I think it was some old Tech Master PEB, some stuff he had from back in the day that was real low frequency stuff. And I pull up in the driveway, and I'm sitting in the driveway jamming. And I crack open my door to I'm going to open the door and then turn the truck off. I don't know why. And the instant I opened my door, the volume increased a lot, a huge amount. The pressure on my ears went up, and it makes no sense to me how the pressure inside the vehicle can go up when you crack open a door. And I know, I remember watching a video you did for the $150 SPL challenge, where you had the 2 big, inexpensive 18-inch drivers. And you said in that video, I'm not even going to worry about the design of the box. I'm just going to move it around in the vehicle until I get that sweet spot. Not your exact words. And I want to know, what the heck happened? Why is it that you cracking a window or, cracking a door open, what makes such a big impact on those low frequencies?
It's actually related to something I was just talking about recently. I don't know if it was on my channel or I kind of lose track sometimes. But I was talking about hard reflection versus soft reflection. And people use the term wave alignment, but it's a reflected waves phase being in or out of phase from the source wave. And in a vehicle, it's a terrible environment for audio. There's reflections coming, and not just reflections, but the shape of the sides of a vehicle are, cup shaped. They're like a dish. So there's also some refraction and interference from all angles. It's just crazy. It's a terrible environment. But opening a window or cracking a door alleviates one of those surfaces, which I guess is a relief. It's not a like a blow off valve, not a pressure relief, but more so you're eliminating a reflected wave that is normally interfering with the opposite side door and windshield and whatnot. So that means if it does get louder, it means that your phase alignment of all those reflected waves was not optimal for either where your ears were or where sensor is if you're measuring SPL.
So what you're saying is Justin messed up.
Well, that's he could a little bit. No,
I just
no.
I just threw the
That's
box
how
on the
most-
back seat. This wasn't anything high tech. It's an extended cab truck. There's no room for decent subwoofers unless you yank the back seat out. It was just laying on the back seat. I'm embarrassed to admit that's what I'm running, a subwoofer just laying on the seat. But
Hey, it works, and that's how most vehicles are. And extreme vehicles are the exception because you can design your cabin however you want. So most extreme vehicles, you think about in an SPL vehicle or any vehicle, your base coming from the back to the front because your subs are in the back. But it's not exactly that way, especially an extreme vehicle. They're wrapping the wave around, and it's really propagating a new wave on the driver's side, going from driver to passenger side. So that sensor being on the windshield close on the passenger side is up in that corner, and that's where they're trying to get that reflected wave, a peak of the wave coming at it versus the peak of the wave being reflected to meet. And in a super straight or straight or regular type of vehicle, you have no control over that. So you open that window and you get rid of the reflected wave. That's a bad interference. And so you can't do anything about it. It's just what it is.
Yeah, and it's
the
the
thing is,
same thing that. Oh, go ahead.
I was thrilled with the sound of this subwoofer, and it's so nice if you've ever had something really tuned really low like that to play some really low frequency stuff. You can barely hear it, but it's just shaking the whole vehicle. It's fun. I like doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thrilled with the way this thing sounded. I've been happy with it, and then it just cracked open that door, and it's like, what the hell just happened here? Where did that come from?
It's more fun that way. But it shows you the whole vehicle is the enclosure. It's not just an enclosure in the back. The whole thing operates together as one enclosure.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's also very similar to why a lot of people in home audio will do what we call a sub crawl. Like when they're placing their subwoofer, right? They'll crawl around the room to see where it's getting the best, response, and then put it there, because you're going to have deconstructive and constructive waves that can ruin your response. Another good reason I think you would probably agree with this, Ed, is for DSP in a car, especially.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we mentioned Dayton earlier. I was going to they had one on sale last year. I didn't get my hands on one though. Any kind of DSP. Head units even have DSPs that are decent these days. Most people don't necessarily know how to tune them, but I think, I don't know have you on this channel had a video to show that a little bit? I thought you did. I don't know.
I have a DSP in my vehicle. I've not done a full on, how do you tune with the DSP video? To be honest, when I set up with the DSP, I was very happy with the result just by changing the levels on the different channels, and I never got into the EQ or anything like that because I was happy with the way it sounded. And I'm playing with the EQ, going, doesn't sound any better. Just put it back to how I had it. I had some really bright air motion transformer tweeters, and I turned those down, and I liked it. So I stopped tinkering with it.
I want to find out if anyone in the chat has used the DSP LF in a car yet. The DSP LF is by Dayton Audio. It's $60. And if you have an iPhone, it will auto tune for, wherever obviously the iPhone is in that car. It's obviously not going to tune the entire thing, but yeah, I actually probably do a pretty decent job in a car anyway. I'd like to see, it runs off 5 volts. Anyone could do it in a car. I'd be interested to find out what their results are. I've used it in the home and it works really well, but I don't know. I've never used it in a car.
Try it out. Why not?
I have a stock system in my car, so.
That on a couple shows we've always mentioned. I know Derek has said it on his, and probably Robert Vega. Most people that work in car audio or that are really into it don't always have their car done. And they'll say, "What do you have in there?" Well, nothing right now.
I'm already doing other projects. I don't have time for my own. It's like the plumber's house that's always got the bad plumbing. Like, I don't want to do plumbing when I get home. I'm done.
That's it. That's it. It's hilarious though. I saw a couple comments. Yeah. I just wanted to mention, someone said you can't hear 20 hertz, but Deviant for Life said, but you can feel it. That's I think he's doing a line from The Room, that movie. You can feel it. The best, worst movie ever. I just wanted to comment on that because it's great.
25 Hertz Life said, sad toy to stock system. Get a system, bro. You like Dean. Hey, you know what? Honestly, I do so much more home audio, and I like that so much better. And I like car audio, but we've already talked about it. Like sometimes you end up having to rewire the car because of the way that new systems are designed and stuff. And you know what? I don't really want to do it. Like it just doesn't seem like fun to me right now. Now there might become a time where I get a crappier car where that just ends up being not the case. But right now everything's all kind of integrated and it's just not really great to be able to do.
That's what's hurting the industry.
So it is. I completely agree.
Yeah. But it's progress.
The last rental car that I had was
I'm interested, Jim.
CX-5, and it had the kind of floating screen up on the dash that was permanently built into that dash. You're not putting a radio on that thing. It had a Bose system. I wasn't impressed with the sound. I'm sure some people like it, but not me. But I would hate to have to put a stereo on that. You're not replacing the head unit. You're going through some kind of complicated integration process, and you've got to overcome with whatever the hell the factory did with their crappy Bose stuff. And so I'm looking at it going, I wouldn't even buy the car. I wouldn't touch it just because I can't put a radio in it.
That's certainly a thing with me with buying cars, is thinking about what can I do to it. And, choosing my HHR was big for the audio. But, there even cars in the 90s, I forget, GM had a car where we had to hide the head unit in the trunk because you couldn't.
Yeah.
It's oil pressure and everything went through there, and Honda did that a little later on.
And Subaru, I had a Subaru that the air conditioning was built in to it. It was all so. If you wanted to, you could actually buy. Someone would sell an aftermarket thing, but it was like $300 for the aftermarket just to separate the air conditioning from. And it's like, wait, so I have to buy like $300 or $400 unit, and then whatever head unit I want, and then hopefully it'll work correctly. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So you could do it. It just costs money.
Yeah. Jim, I just want to say, Jim, I'm really interested to see how that DSP LF works in your truck. So let us know, because I'll be interested to find out. It's so cheap that, if it works well, that's going to be a great buy.
Let's talk about the HHR. What are you doing with the HHR? What's the plan for that? Besides that awesome plastic dip you did, tell me about that.
It's a slow project, and I've shot a lot of video on everything, doing the chassis, the motor, suspension, doing everything, but I haven't had time to edit and release anything. I eventually will, but it's a lot of the things I'm doing to it are jobs I've never done before. So it's kind of like I shot them in a way where I want to say, look, I'm just trying this because I'm like, either I'll have to wait, many years to learn this, to do it right, or get someone else involved to do it and spend more money, or I'm just going to do it and learn along the way. And that's what I did. And I messed things up, but I didn't, turn off the camera. I show, I broke a bolt or whatever it is. I wanted to film that. I'm going to put that in the video. So it's going to be kind of a, and yes, some things I am proficient at, and that's more on the wiring and audio side. I just haven't gotten there yet. But I want to show a project car, doing an entire project car yourself, and to try and turn it into a personal car used as a company demo vehicle. So not a full show car, not a full daily, but somewhere in between, and trying to show that, look, I can have a really nice car that I built myself. I did it completely myself, and I could take it to shows, and I can enjoy it, and I can get dings and scratches on it and be very upset at the same time, but I'll be able to fix it eventually because I did it myself in the first place and taught myself. So if something happens, now I'll be able to repair or improve later on. So it will be a kind of a demo car, sort of, but also using it just for driving around, having fun.
So we want to know, do you have any pictures of the plastic dip on the HHR?
I do. Well, I have been holding back. I was going to do a reveal on the videos on YouTube and whatnot, but last night, the lighting, I was parked outside of my house and it just looked nice. So I took a couple clips and I decided, what the heck? So I put it on my TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook Sparked Ed on TikTok and Instagram, and Edward Lester on Facebook. But I believe I tagged Sparked Innovations on Facebook also, so that should be public. So it is out there now, just not a whole lot of it. There's mistake. Like I said, I made mistakes. It's the first car I ever sprayed. So yes, there are spots where I purposely didn't point the camera yesterday. I'll show that later. It's.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
we've never done that. We don't know what you're talking about.
So you built a custom dash for that. Is that right? I seem to recall you some stuff on Instagram with you making a dash out of MDF of gauge cluster.
Not an entire dash. Where did I put it?
Yeah, if it's nearby, go grab it.
I have a test piece I was doing.
We'll make fun of you when you pull out your earbuds. So his earbuds are out. We can now say anything we want about him.
I'm trying to find this photo on this page, but I'm not seeing it. So I was going to try to share it, but I don't see it.
Oh, well, he's back on. Stop talking about him, y'all.
Is he back on?
I'm gonna put you full screen so you can show that off.
Okay.
I heard you have a really rare
Whoops.
Michael Jordan, Larry Bird basketball card.
I have a lot of for sale that I'm trying
So
to
I want to put in full screen, Nick.
Okay, this works, right? So this is
There. Yeah.
This is actually a mistake. Again, I filmed it, and I'm not afraid to talk about it because mistakes are how we learn. And I can tell you how I made the mistake. You can't really see it here. And the idea is this is a tray that sits on top of the dash, and it from factory has a door that opens. And since we make switches and gauges, I want to show them off for the company, but also use them to turn on my lighting and my amps and my cooling fans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted a place, instead of drilling a bunch of holes in the dash, to make a pod, and also relocate my boost gauge from the A-pillar so I can use the A-pillar to make my speaker pods. And so the boost gauge will go in here. And this is pine. So I took pine and I cut it on the CNC, layered it up, and glued the layers together to make a 3D piece. So up here was going to be acrylic, do a lighting, maybe a light up logo on the top of the pod where it kind of faces out the windshield. Over here is going to be acrylic with my switches mounted on it. And I may engrave labels on switches. I'm not sure yet. But I was going to do 2 layers acrylic. The top with the switches in it is going to be smoked tinted transparent. So underneath, when I turn on the voltmeters, they light up and you see them shine through. But when they're off, it just looks like black, right? And so I don't have the faceplate here, but then my boost gauge will mount in the middle with switches on the side. And here's how I messed it up. So this glue is Tight Bond 2. I've used it for many, many years. And I'm used to a certain setup time with it. Apparently, whatever temperature and humidity it was in here made it dry way too fast. So I started stacking the pieces, I think, in that orientation on the table. I put a bead of glue around, stacked the next piece, bead of glue, and I did it real quick. It was like under a minute. And then the idea was to loosely stack them. And then I kind of had a jig I was going to press it against and line them up. Well, after I got the last one stacked and I went to go press it, they wouldn't move. And I was like, and they weren't perfect because I didn't have it against the jig. So there's a warp to it. They're all slightly misaligned. And that was my mess up. And I'm like, and I couldn't peel it apart. They were already on too tight, where if I started pulling them, it started damaging the wood. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just use this as a test piece and build another one. So,
well, I mean, you should be ashamed. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it happens. But
if you hadn't have told us that it was messed up, we wouldn't have noticed it. I mean, we couldn't see it through the resolution on this camera at the very least.
If you try to line it up, if you were the one trying to install this, you would definitely see that it was warped and not straight.
You know,
could you salvage it with some Bondo or something?
I could sand it, but it would throw it. Some areas would be thinner because the lasers cut the acrylic face, and that's going to be like perfect. And so everything is visually going to be lined. It's going to be right in I'm going to be driving and look Right. Mostly it's for me saying, "Oh man, I messed."
So basically, if this was for someone else that may not have known, he probably could have salvaged it. But since it's for him, and he's going to look at it every time, he's going to see that one mistake, and he's going to be like, "Ah,
Yeah,
and I've been there. I've done
pretty
that.
much.
Yeah,
Yep.
I will show a completed speaker to my wife, and I'll be like, "Oh man, I really messed this up." She'll be like, "Where?" And I'll be like, "Right there. Can't you see it?" She's like, "No." And I'll be like, "It's right there." And she's like, "Oh, is that a mistake?" I'm like, ah.
But if that was for a customer, I wouldn't let it out the door either, you know. So
"Oh, I'm sure you wouldn't."
yeah. But since I messed it up, now I'm thinking of other improvements to do. So bonus.
There you
You
go.
know what though? That's really cool. I mean, how many people are doing that kind of thing? That's who. That's it, right?
There you go.
I mean, one of a kind piece. That's what I like about the kind of the DIY thing. Every speaker I have in my house is no one has one like it anywhere. And it's really cool to have something that's unique that no one else has. And I think one thing you've got, Ed, that I think is really cool are those pods you made with those cadence speakers.
Yeah.
Do you have those nearby by any chance? Oh, awesome.
I'm at the back of my desk. I turned it around, but
Yeah, that thing's really nice. Look at that. Now, what kind of wood is that?
This is it's pine, just like my pod, except for the face is poplar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see the poplar now. Oh, that's beautiful.
You could see the color difference a little bit, but I used a stain that covers them both pretty well, and then acrylic trim ring that goes around the tweeter, and I do have the Cadence logo engraved on it. It's hard to see here, but
I can see it just barely right there.
yeah, and that could pop out, and I could change the color if I wanted. And they sound great. I mean, that's a pro audio type driver with a super tweeter. So it is.
Hey, I'm really. Can I ask you about that real quick?
Mhm.
Because I've been. All right. So I've been out of the car audio scene for a very long time, and I keep asking people, why don't they use more pro audio drivers? Because to me, if you're going for like a sound quality style vehicle, because to me it seems like the distortion level would be very low.
Mhm.
You know, you could get very high SPL. And your distortion level on your amp should be low because you don't need to push them nearly as high either. Granted, they won't go as low, but as long as you have like a mid bass or, a subwoofer in there, to kind of complement that, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that makes a lot of sense to me, but I would love to hear your opinion on that.
I mean, I love them. I think a lot of people are using them. I think you touched on something. You said you don't have to use as much power, but the way people are, they want to put as much power as they possibly can, no matter if it requires less or whatever. That's just, I don't know if that's Americans or the world, but we love big numbers and to overdrive and overpower, faster, louder,
more power.
Bigger. Yes,
more power.
Well, and I think it's just, honestly, I think it was bad marketing for a long period of time. That's my personal opinion, because people will always say, well, this takes 1,000 watts. Even nowadays, when people buy a subwoofer or speaker, they'll be like, okay, well, my speaker can do 500 watts, so I need a 500 watt amplifier. And you're like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. Like,
I mean, that comes to education on a few things. And that's what like channels like this and like what I've been trying to do. I did do a video on power ratings when the whole Rockville and the standards things came out, and I wanted to explain it. And
that's good.
If you're used to, when I say pro audio, meaning if you set up stadium systems, array systems, if you're a roadie for a big band, you would understand program power. Some high-end home audio people understand DJ stuff, program power. We don't use that term in car audio, but that's important when going with how to match an amp to a sub and how they're rated. And not just a sub, but a speaker, tweeter even, or program power is in there, but the term is not understood or used by us as consumers, at least. I think it is important to know that, though.
I agree. I wish more people would research that type of information, or do. I just recently did a video on power too, because people were under the impression that if you double your amplifier power, you get double the loudness. And it's like, no, that's not how that works either. So, but I think you're right. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of just not understanding.
Yeah.
We talked on the show about the importance of sensitivity, and Nick has a subwoofer. It's his end table build. If you've seen that, if y'all have seen that one, and that particular driver it's just a big pro audio woofer, I think, Nick.
Yeah,
And
it's a Dayton audio. Yeah.
yeah, in the video, you basically explain it's a high sensitivity driver. It doesn't need as much power because it will play louder with less power. That's what a high sensitivity driver is, and we just don't ever seem to look at the sensitivity spec whenever we talk about car audio. We completely ignore it.
Yeah, and because that's an 8-ohm woofer, I'm only giving it like 125 watts max, like ever. And I mean, that thing will easily fill up my living room with sound. I mean, I wouldn't mind making a second one just because I can run it off the same amplifier, you know. But
just so the end tables match.
Yeah, just so the end tables. Well, there's
Your
nowhere
wife
really
wants
to
the
put
second one, so the end tables match.
My wife doesn't want the first one, so
That's true. But that is something, I think listening habits is also another thing. And the way someone listens to their home audio is different than car audio, especially people that compete and you have that competitive spirit. That you don't really have that with your home audio. In most cases, some people do have neighbors and you want to battle it out and like, oh yeah, you're turning yours up. You got your Billy Joel going. I got my Metallica going, whatever it is, you know?
No, I think you're right. It's true. I mean, Parts Express does, you know, or used to before COVID, used to do where you could bring a competition where you could bring your speakers in and test them against other people. But in general, there's not really anywhere for you to do it. And they're a lot bigger, they're a lot heavier. It's a lot harder to do that. And most of the time you're setting up for the room. And so you can't really set it up for the room. There's a lot of, I guess, downsides for that. It's a lot harder to do. Yeah.
Definitely. But it's that spirit. Once you're in the car, your mentality, I think, changes. So your listening habits change.
So I want to ask you, because we never really got into it, because Justin asked you before the show started and we never got to really talk about it, is how did you get started in all this?
That is a very long story. Well, I can shorten it again. I've been into it since...
That's a good one. El Fuego.
El Fuego said, sensitivity is when my wife sees how much I spend on That's awesome.
That's a good joke, but not a joke. No, I've been into audio and electronics and things like that. I guess a lot of people out there have similar stories since I was a kid. I mean, like probably 5-6 years old, you know, something like that. And through the years, I think maybe I was 10 or 11 when I got my first speakers. I might have been 6th or 7th grade when I built my first speaker box. And I was buying stuff from yard sales and pulling drivers out of cabinets and taking apart. I had an old, I didn't realize it was a, an old, now I forget. A really high-end home audio receiver amp, and I didn't realize it was like a high-end thing. I got it at a yard sale for $7, and it was nice. Like it was powerful, and I got to play with that thing as a kid. And my dad also had Truckin' magazine. He had a classic Ford truck, and he got a subscription to the magazine Truckin', and I would look through that, and there'd be a lot of trucks with big audio systems. And I'm like, oh yeah, old car, they're restoring the paint. That's cool, whatever. But look at this, like a bed filled with speakers, like, and it has a tilt bed and like, whoa, like I want to do that. And then looking more into it, realized there were car audio magazines also, and I could get those. So I never got a subscription, but I would buy them in the store. Auto Sound and Security, what was it? Car Audio and Electronics, CA&E, and a bunch of those, and would always look in them and read about competitions that were happening and wanting to be in that world. And they were my celebrities. And, you know, I'm going to throw a name out there. Tim Maynor in the mid 60s was one of the top guys. If you've seen pictures of his Blazer, it was a red Blazer. They all Rockford stuff, did a steel windshield with cameras in the bumper to be able to see, did the Terminator motif. He had the Testarossa body kit on the side of the Blazer. And he was one of, if not the first to do over 160 dB. He had tons of power because at one show, they made many rules because of stuff he did. He had a trailer behind the Blazer for his batteries and amps because they wouldn't fit inside the Blazer. But this is someone I always wanted to meet and be on that level. And so when I was 15, I convinced my mom to let me use her car and her drive to the show and through the lanes. And I did an SPL show at 15. I didn't win, obviously, but I got the bug. And when I was 16 and got a car, then I started competing myself. And then when I was down Georgia, working for, it was a subwoofer company called T3 Audio. It was local to Tim Maynard. And I went to meet him and everything. This is like 2009, 10. He was a fan of me on YouTube, and I didn't know that. And he
That's
wanted
hilarious.
to. Yeah, I had an old HHR that I had a system in, and I made him tap out from it.
Oh,
I'm like, he couldn't. He's like, all right, that's enough. Like, you're Tim Maynard. What are you too loud? Like, what do you mean? You're the guy. Like, come on. But no, that was a good memory. And through the years, all those little things happening to me, going to show, meeting people, or doing well was more motivation each time to do more and more. So I got a job in the industry as an installer, then manufacturer, and now doing this. So, and
I think you're right. I think a couple of things, if I'm hearing a couple of things that you're spitting out, is one, just go buy what you can afford. Don't go buy whatever, so if you have to start at yard sales, start somewhere. It doesn't matter. Like, start yard sales, Facebook Marketplace, things like that. Get whatever you can. And then get yourself surrounded by a good community, where you can really, whether it be shows or online forums or, Sparked Ed's YouTube channel. Guys, Tim Maynard is a fan. You should be a fan as well. So go over there, subscribe. But yeah, I think that's a great point. I feel like you have to have that community aspect. Otherwise, it's really hard to stay. I don't know. Yeah.
We have a good community here. All the guys that hang in the chat and all the various channels.
Oh, I agree.
I think so. Yeah. Didn't know you were a part of T3 Audio. Nice. Oh, his dad knows Tim. There you go. Tim's a good guy.
It's a small world. It really is. You start seeing the same names pop up over and over again. Like, I don't know, it's the same guys in the chat every time, right? We're glad to have everybody here. It's awesome to look and see the chat so active. Wish we could bring up more of what's going on in the chat, but
yeah. It looks pretty active. I haven't been able to glance over too much, but no, that's awesome. We got a good group.
Excellent. Nick, anything else?
Yes. No, I think it's pretty cool that you do a lot of the Translam cabinets. You showed, your gauge one, and then you showed, your speaker pods. I actually wish more people would do that, with the stacked wood or plywood. But I think it's really hard unless you have a CNC. And people say, well, you can't. You can do that without a CNC.
I have, yes.
Yeah, because you just need a router and a nice pattern bit, right?
Yeah, and just or a very steady hand with a jigsaw.
Okay.
But you can
well,
do it.
Well, I may not have that steady of a hand. I would want a pattern bit, but you can do it. I mean, I've done different things by doing that. I love that cabinet, that type of cabinet, because I feel like you can get it a little sturdier too. Like, if you can put like internal bracing in there, if you make one with like the bracing in there, and I don't know. I wish more people would do that style. I think it looks really pretty at the end too.
It does. I've seen some crazy things that people have done. Of course, they are using CNC, but doing what are they called? The anechoic chamber panels.
Yeah,
to stop any standing waves in the box. I've seen people doing that. So each layer would have a slight different,
wave
jigsaw. Right. Yeah. It's like, use your imagination. You can now start thinking in different dimensions. It's a great tool,
It's pretty neat. Yeah, you'll see them like kind of curve, like almost like a wave in there on every other pattern. Those are neat. I like seeing that.
Yeah. There. What's that? What new products are in the works? There any Omi still? No, Omi was a product that we did discontinue. It could possibly come back in the future, but there's no plans right now. We are working on the speed controller, which is for our fans, but also universally. So people that use the bilge pump fans, the big white
Oh, yeah.
12 volt fans and whatnot, or PC fans. If they want to turn them down a little bit, we'll have a speed controller that works with pretty much any 12
So
volt
it'll
fan.
actually have a physical control on it.
Yeah, that will have a remote mounted. You can mount it on the housing if you want, or have a dash mounted, or I guess console or whatever you want to mount it. Knob with a display 0 to 100, so you know your level, the speed level.
That's nice because a lot of, especially on computer, you have to really worry about just doing it all typically in your software. Especially like if you have like a small office like me and Justin do, it'd be nice to just be able to turn that down to like nothing, while we're recording video.
Oh yeah. And sometimes you don't need full blast. A little bit is adequate to cool your amps. But if the only option is full blast, what else are you going to do?
It's the same problem. Like if you ever use PA amplifiers, man, everyone always switches out their fans because, if those things go full blast, sounds like a helicopter in your room. You're like, what the heck is that?
It's like, is that the new Xbox or something? Or PS4?
Oh, geez.
All right. So here's a question that we all want to know the answer to from 25 Hertz to Life. WCW or WWE?
Well, see, I was a WCW fan, and before that WWF. I was upset when they changed it.
Yes, when they was it because of World Wildlife Foundation? Is that why they had? Yes, that's.
And I'm like, no one watches their matches, so
I know. Yeah, come on,
come on. But no, I was a big Goldberg fan, so WCW was my thing. And when Sid Vicious, well, he was Sid Justice, and so I used to be a wrestling fan. So that's a good question. I don't think anyone knew that I used to watch wrestling, but I used to be a Goldberg fan. And
now,
Scott Steiner.
Goldberg and all these guys that you're doing are relatively new. I mean, newer, I should say. Not new by any means. They're like late 90s, early 2000s, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So were you a wrestling fan before that? Like, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, those guys?
The Macho Man. Yeah. And the Mega Powers.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Their interviews were the best. And so they were on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it was. So we would always watch that. And that was the 80s. But then if you're a fan of bad movies, Suburban Commando.
Oh, yes, with Hulk Hogan.
Oh, one of the best was No Holds Barred. With Zeus. Remember Zeus? He was
I don't remember No Holds Barred.
Yeah, it was Hulk Hogan and Tiny Lister, who played Debo in Friday. And
really?
I think he recently passed, but I met him at a Comic-Con, and he's an awesome, nice guy. I met Kevin Nash also. That's a fun story. Kevin Nash, we have Diesel, right? Big, tough wrestler guy. Played Super Shredder in Ninja Turtles too. And here at Comic-Con, he's talking to me about how he liked playing Spyro the Dragon on PlayStation with his daughter.
That's so awesome.
7 foot big guy. Oh yeah, I love playing Spyro. It's great. The dragon's cute and this and that. I'm like, that's not something I would expect to hear from you.
It's interesting because of the characters they play and then like who they actually are not always the same. I to this day, when I'm on a road trip, I still like either get or really think about whether I should get a Slim Jim or not. I'm like,
snap it up, Slim Jim.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. I mean, Randy Savage, man. I mean, he was a thing. I'm like, man, I gotta get a Slim Jim. They're not even that good, but man, I still remember that. Like,
he was jacked up in the Spider-Man movie too. He was.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Junkyard Dog. Yeah, there you go. I used to have the rubber. You remember them? They were like that tall, like the rubber WWF figures. They had the small ones and the big ones, different size. But they were.
You know who I used to always like as well is Legion of Doom. Do you remember them? Oh, with the shoulder pads and the
like, Hawk and they changed names. I guess when they were in WCW, they were the Road Warriors and
the Road Warriors. That's right.
Legion of Doom and or whatever they did. But yeah, they had the mohawks and the paint and everything. Oh man.
Somewhere I still have one of their hats back in the day. I mean, it's like that bright 80s green with like the graphics on it and stuff. Yeah.
Neon colors. That was classic.
Yes. Oh, Hawk and Animal. That was right. Hawk and Animal. Yeah.
I think one of them died. All these guys die so early. Ugh.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Boink and Boink. Yeah, Boink the Clown. And Ric Flair. You can hire Ric Flair on What's it? What's
that's right.
On that new website?
Yeah, there's a website where you can hire people to what do they do for you? I've seen it before. I don't know what you're talking about. Forget what it's called.
Yeah, like you can have them record your voicemail message or something.
Right,
like that.
right. You can, yeah.
Yeah.
Cameo, is that it? Cameo,
I
Giving
think
for
that's
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
I did just look at both the Road Warriors actually passed. One passed at 60 and one passed at 46.
Oof. Yeah. Steroids, I guess, and jumping off ropes and stuff probably isn't good for your knees over and over. And
Too many chairs to the head.
yeah, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. There you go. Wrestling, that could be a whole other channel.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of channels for that.
I guess, there's probably someone out there who is going to add their own version of Side Jag and just talk about wrestling after their car audio or podcast. So,
there you
we
go.
can do a different Side Jag just for that.
BMX bikes or wrestling? There you go.
There you go. Because it's not just the audio stuff. There's all kind of other fun things people do. So there you go.
And I think we usually, it's weird. I don't know if it's the way we're all made up, but I feel like we have a lot of the same interests. When we start talking to each other, we're like, oh yeah, you like that too? Oh yeah, me too. Or did.
It's called just being a dude. I mean, that's it. I mean,
being a dude, man. I know a lot of dudes that don't or never liked wrestling. My wife, my son wants to watch it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put it on. She's, no, he's not ready for that yet. Okay.
Just do it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He's probably still pretty young. I mean, he's only 5. Although we're starting to introduce him to like the ninja. What were those? The 3 ninja movies, and then the last one at High Mountain. They haven't watched it yet. Hulk Hogan is in that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta go watch that. Do a Hulk Hogan-a-thon.
Hulk Hogan-a-thon. Yeah. He used to, what else he was in that was really good was that show back then. Was it Thunder in Paradise? Remember?
Yeah. He's on a boat.
Yes. That boat was so cool. I always wanted that boat. I'm like, I want that boat, man.
Was the boat named Thunder? Is that what?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. I don't know. Go watch some cheesy 80s stuff. It's great though. There is another interest that I always want to talk about, but there's very few people out there that are into it, and that's like YouTube stuff, like set like your mic and your lighting and like all that kind of stuff. And I see you guys have the background. Like I usually used to do more setup, and like I would have a blue and a green light behind me and do all that. Of course, I'm in the office and I don't have anything.
We believe you
right now, so but. No, I like that. Taking time and you figure things out and like how you want it set up and what works well for you, and taking the time to do that, it becomes projects that is now an interest for you. It's like a hobby. Like, how do you set up your stuff? Well, I do this, and how do you set up your stuff? And everyone's setup is a system. It's not an audio system, but it's like a broadcast, a set. Everyone does their thing.
Oh, it's true. And to set it up can be really time consuming. It took me years to figure out how I like my lighting and stuff. And I had to talk to a bunch of different people. And even talking to, what was that guy's name that used to be on our channel? I forgot it. Yeah. That guy.
Chevy Vega.
No, I don't think that's right.
High Five Forward. What was his name?
I don't remember his name anymore. But you guys know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, we're just kidding with you, Rob. We love you, man.
He's probably still on vacation.
He probably is actually.
Yeah.
He's not listening. But yeah, he actually knew a ton more than I think either I or Justin knew about, and he helped us out a lot.
He's a camera expert. He could, he would try to explain the camera to me, and I'd just be sitting there going, I don't get it, man. None of these words you're saying make any sense to me.
That's why I have 25 lenses now.
Hey, you might need them for something.
I have 3. I'm just kidding.
All right, here's a real serious question for you, Ed.
I know the answer to this.
Fried green tomatoes are still Magnolia. I don't think I've seen either of those.
What? Fried green tomatoes is amazing. Great movie.
One of them has
don't they both have the chick from Smokey and the Bandit?
You mean the Flying Nun?
No, the girl from Smokey and the Bandit who played the part of Frog in Smokey and the Bandit, the runaway bride in Smokey and the Bandit, was in both of them, I think.
Forrest Gump's mom is in Smokey and the Bandit, isn't she?
Yeah, it's Forrest Gump's mom, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the flying nun too.
And if my wife were listening in, she'd be so mad at me for not knowing the names of these people, because I don't really care about actors. They don't excite me in the least little bit. And the running gag in my household is we watching a movie and I go, "Who's that actress? Have I seen her sing before?" "Well, yeah, she was in the movie we watched last night." It's like, "What's her hair's different? How the hell am I supposed to know who she is?" So my hair stays the same. This is how hair is supposed to work. You get this hair, you keep it like that.
Yeah.
My hair's been like this for 25 years.
If it's Sally Field, she is not in Fried Green Tomatoes.
No,
I don't believe.
I haven't seen those. I'm thinking of an older
Sally Field. That's the person I'm thinking.
I'm thinking of a blonde hair woman. She's like regarded very highly in Hollywood, but I don't even know her name. Yeah, those are movies I usually like switch past. They could be good for all I know.
I'm telling you right now, Fried Green Tomatoes is actually a really good movie for anyone that wants to watch it. I like it. I've never seen Steel Magnolias. I have no interest in it.
No.
But
Gidget, there you go. Gidget. Yes, she was Gidget.
It's good. Have you seen it, Justin? Justin, have you seen Fried Green Tomatoes? Yes or no?
I've not seen Fried Green Tomatoes.
Man, the secret's in the sauce.
I've not seen Steel Magnolias either. But Sally Fields was Gidget. Is that right? Someone said that?
It's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
When she was like probably like 18 or something. I mean, that was a long time ago. I was one of the people that I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 1980. So through the 80s into the 90s, when they played things like Gilligan's Island and Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, I thought they were brand new. Like, I'm a kid. I didn't know. I'm like, oh, there's a new episode on. This is great. I should watch it. And little did I know they're from 20, 30 years ago. But that's the way TV was. I guess Technicolor didn't look much different than whatever 80s color was. So.
No, and it's crazy too. My son's getting into this now because now we have instant access to pretty much everything, right? So if we want to watch a season or all the seasons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 80s, we can watch those. So we started watching some shows on what is that? Like Disney Plus, and they start coming out with an episode every week. And he's like, "Wait, I just can't watch the next one. I have to wait." Yeah, you have to actually wait, man. Or we started watching that Lego Masters show, and he's like, "Wait, I have to wait like another week, and then I can watch one." I'm like, yeah.
It used to. You have to get a book out back in the day and see what time a show was on.
So Brian Steele says that Sally Field was in Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, she was.
And Deviant for Life says Marissa Tomei though. So that's Spider-Man's aunt now, right?
Yeah, Aunt May.
And so I'm sorry, Aunt May is supposed to be an old lady. They got the part wrong when they put Marissa Tomei in.
I know. That's true. I agree with that.
You're not supposed to get excited when Aunt May comes on the screen, you know?
That's what's her name from My Cousin Vinny, though.
Yeah.
She was the car expert in My Cousin
That's right.
Vinny. Yeah, she's awesome. What's someone fettuccine nests? What's he saying? I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know. I've completely lost the chat, and we've been at it for like I said before we got started. I told Ed what's going to happen is we're going to get started. It's going to go kind of slow, and an hour in, we're going to be like chatting like old friends, and it's going to be an absolute blast. We won't want to end the show, but it is. We're at an hour and 8 minutes, so it's time to wrap it up. And as Hi-Fi Vega started us off when we started off our channel, he always ends the show by asking us, what is it that we are pimping? And I don't think Nick understood what he meant at that point the first time he asked. What do we have coming up that we want to brag about and talk about on our channels? What's new and coming down the pipeline?
Real quick, I just want you to know, I just looked up the entire credited cast for Fried Green Tomatoes, and Sally Field is not accredited in that. So I don't know.
Maybe I'm not watching it now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to watch it.
Who's SM, Brian?
Superman.
Okay, sure. Let's go with that. Superman was in Fried Green Tomatoes.
I'm not saying that she isn't in Fried Green Tomatoes. I'm just saying she's not accredited if she is in it.
I don't think I've ever seen it, so I don't know who's that. All right, Nick, what do you got coming up that you want to talk about to pimp, as Hi-Fi Vega would say?
I have this video coming out. Should be out tomorrow. This is a little tiny micro sub. Those are the Cartesian subwoofers. pretty neat. So I got that one coming out. I do have some new home theater seating coming out. I don't want to tell you about those, but they're really exciting. So I'm excited to bring that video out to you. And then I'm going to have a video of, these speakers, which go with that subwoofer. And I'll have a video of all those. I'll give you a heads up of, what went wrong during the build, what didn't go wrong, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. And in general, if you wanted to get these Cartesian drivers, what should you use them for? Where I think their best purpose is, I should say that. So that's it, man. I mean, I have a lot of good stuff coming up, but those are the 3 videos I want to get out as soon as possible.
Ed, what have you got coming up?
More work, tons of work. But this weekend, there's a show this weekend. It's in Indiana. It's the Slamology show. So we will be there with our Sparked Innovations booth. So during the week, I'm going to try and go live on my Sparked Ed YouTube channel, but I will be busy getting stuff ready for the show. It's usually a crunch to get products built to be able to take to sell, and displays. I have a couple to build and stuff like that. So if I don't go live this week, then I will be back next week after the show, do more live videos through the week, and probably prepping to do my HHR build log videos to release by the end of the month. Hopefully. We'll see.
Fantastic. Well, I just dropped a video this last weekend. I even forget what it was about. Oh, it was the new 10-inch subwoofer that Parts Express sent out to me. I did a quick review of that and compared it to their other 10-inch subwoofers, and that video did pretty well. It seemed people must have liked it.
It was a good video.
I've got some follow-up videos coming up. I've done some videos on cheap prefab subwoofer enclosures, and I've got the stuff I need for a follow-up video. I haven't filmed it yet, so who knows what the next video is actually going to be. You'll be as surprised as I am.
I got a good idea if you're able to do it, unless you've already thought of it, because I've seen a couple of the prefab boxes.
Yeah.
If you come up with ways how to improve them, if someone already has one and they want to spend a little bit of time and money.
Lighter fluid and a match.
No, man. Get some good bracing in there. Add some foam. I think you'd be good.
Dump resin all over it.
When in doubt, just brace the heck out of it.
Good idea. Yes.
All right. It is time for us to wrap it up. So I'm just going to go over here and hit this end broadcast button, and we'll see you next time.